Welcome back to another NQ Ninja review. Today is January 7th, 2026, and today was a day of kind of building liquidity. So in this video, I want to show kind of what we saw today. I'm going to start from a higher level, zoom down to the intraday, and then I want to kind of explain one of my techniques with trading that hopefully might help you in your daily trading with NQ. So let's kind of start on the daily here. So from the daily, you can see we have some zones that are marked above. We have some demand areas below us, but currently we are right here. Now this was yesterday's, or actually today's. We just started a new candle, but this was the day of the 7th, and you can see the 8th. So it is 7 o'clock my time. So we've started a new candle. So what does this indicate, right? If I look at this candle for the daily, so let's kind of talk about candle trading. What this is showing me is there was indecision, right? From a higher standpoint, we couldn't go higher. From a lower standpoint, we couldn't go lower, right? And so we've created this kind of doji in the middle, if you will, just a body in the middle. And I can't really tell much from this other than there's indecision. So what else can I look at when I'm looking at this chart? The other things I can look at are this trend line. So if I look at this trend line, I'm going to kind of keep in mind that I have 1 touch, 2 touch, 3 touch. This is our 4th touch and a break, okay? So I'm going to watch that. I want to see how we respond to that. So that's 4 touches. And likewise on the bottom, we have some touches. So we're really getting tight on this channel. And I could really see it go either way here. I could see us try to fill this wick to the upside and really push up off of this trend line and push up. And I can also see us fall back down into this wedge and make it really tight. And then at that point, we're either going to kind of go down here or we're going to get one more push to the upside. So that's kind of what I'm looking at from a daily. Let's kind of zoom down to the 30-minute and see what we see there. So now we're kind of more intraday, if you will. You can see this morning, I want to show you what I saw. So this morning, go ahead, let me delete all this stuff off the chart so it's not confusing. So this morning, and I'll call these lines out for you. So the red is the 9 EMA, the yellow is the 20 EMA, the white dotted line is the VWAP, and the green line down here is the 200 EMA. Okay, so we're looking at the 30-minute. So the first thing I see looking at this is a channel right off the bat. So I'm going to go ahead and just draw that. So this morning I did see this right here. I guess we could kind of draw it a little bit more steeper to make more sense. I did have this zone down here as well. So I was really watching this area. Once we kind of started to create higher lows. So here's our bottom. We created a higher low here. Here's another higher low. This is when I start to think, ooh, I wonder if this is an area that we're going to bounce off of, right? So this could be a really good place to take a long, okay? Many people are thinking shorts in this area, right? Because look, oh, but we're going down. So wouldn't you want to take a short? No, you got to find the areas that most traders are actually thinking one way, but you see cheat codes to take you the other way, right? And so I call these zones, I call these things such as the higher lows cheat codes, right? Because it's telling us something about the charts. So here we go, we're moving up. We do break out of this channel, which is beautiful play here. Let's kind of zoom down really quick. I want to see if we get a retest of this break. So if I look at the 2-minute, I scroll over, let's see what we get. So I'm going to go ahead and scroll over here. We don't actually get a retest of that trend line, but we do get a break of that trend line, meaning that we possibly could be really trying to move up more here. I could sit here all night and show you all sorts of things, but what else do I see here, right? So if I really zoom down on this 2-minute, which is where I take my positions, you can see that I have this bottom here. So we move down, we push up, then we move back down for a double bottom, is what they call this, to then break out. So what do you see here? It's a W, right? You see the W play? So in this market currently, I am seeing these all day, every day. These setups, especially on the 2 minute. So just be careful of that, or be aware of that. Here it is again. Look, here we actually don't get as low. So down, up, down, break, right? So just something to kind of be aware of as you're looking at the patterns and structures. Because remember, what are the 4 things that we talk about here that really matter? The trend, what structures are we seeing, the zones, and then what are my moving averages telling me? So those are the things that I'm looking for. Saw that this morning. Let's kind of move up. I'm going to go to the 5 minute now. And so let's kind of talk about what we saw out of this area. So we broke out. Let's just kind of talk about what we see in the chart. We break out. We really kind of build liquidity right here. And at this point, 9:30 is when we really start to make our move. So we take this move, we break above this daily wedge, which is huge, right? And what do you see once we break above this daily wedge? Something I see clearly, and I'll actually draw it this way, is we're really starting to create demand. We're creating demand right here, right? We break above, we start to hold. We break above, we're holding, right? Support, support, support. We really try to break down, but we can't break down. We push back up. And so at this point, I'm thinking, okay, we can't really get below this area, so we're probably building liquidity to move up out of this. And so that's exactly what we did. We're starting to see this potential trend to the upside. We see this zone that we've kind of created. I don't really have a structure at the moment, but I do see a potential channel here that we could be breaking out of to the upside. And then the last thing I can really show you, I know this is getting ugly. The last thing I can kind of show you here is the EMAs, right? The moving averages. So the 9 is really, it's moving up, right? The 20 is moving up. And we start to get clarity around 10:45 is when we move up. We start to kind of use that 9 as a bouncing place, right? Until we get to about 12 o'clock in the day, okay? So use that 9. This would have been a really good entry here. So yeah, let's talk about that. So where can I take an actual position based on what I'm seeing here on the 5 minute? So once we broke this area, we created this this demand area, and we moved up. Right here, you can see that there's this trend line right here, right? And if I go down the 2 minute, you can really see what I'm talking about. So I'm going to zoom in. I love the 2 minute because it gives you all the nitty gritty details that you need right here. You see it? So I'm going to go ahead and delete this, and then I'll actually draw a true channel because I'm terrible at the free-forming it. But something like this is kind of what I'm seeing, right? We kind of come down, we break, and then at 11 or 11:40 Eastern is when we kind of make that move up out of here. So several things here that are showing me up. So I'm seeing that the trend is up, right? I'm seeing that this structure is kind of a build down, and then we're breaking this. You could call it a bull flag to the upside on this. So that's what we're doing here. We're bouncing off of the 9 and the 20. So we're getting this bounce off to the upside. So there's several reasons for probability of the upside in this situation. So that would have been a good play. But one thing I really want to show you, and I'm going to go back to the 30 and we'll kind of end it on this, is something I want to talk about is the EMAs, right? So understanding the kind of where we're at on the market. Sorry, not the 30. Where was it? Was it the 5 minute? I really want to. Yeah, the 5 minute. So let's kind of look at the 5 minute here. So the 5 minute, later in the day, we create this section, this kind of top. We round it off, right? We kind of come down, and then we start to create this kind of double top, right? So we create another top here, a double top. And then, so in this section here, it's tough to play, right? So what you can do is just sit on your hands, right? Sit on your hands, let this play out. Once we started to break down here, we tried to come back up. You see this 9 here? This would be a really good place to take a position. Why do I say that? because we couldn't break above here, 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 and here. We couldn't get above, right? So what do? We break down, right? So these are little things that you need to kind of start paying attention to when you're playing NQ, is the structure and how it behaves within the EMAs, right? When you're in a relationship with another person, you know all the ins and outs of that person, right? Same thing with the charts. When I am around these charts, I can see all the little things. And a lot of times I can actually see them before they happen, just because I've seen it so many times, right? And so that's kind of what we're seeing here. So just pay attention to those items on the charts. What do I see for tomorrow? So zoom out. Again, make sure you check into the YouTube posts. I'll post those in the mornings on if we're strong, what we might see, and if we're weak, what we might see. So tomorrow, this area is going to be huge where we're at. So the question is, are we going to break back into this zone and move down into this area here? And that would actually kind of create this head and shoulders. You see it here? Or are we going to really build this strength and maybe try to, come up? Maybe we try to kind of build some sort of flag here to then break up out of this, right, to the upside. So that's something we could do. If we do move up, I would say this area, we're going to try to move up. We might potentially fail, come back down into this area, and then move back up and create this W pattern. So look for that as well. Thank you for listening to this video. I will post tomorrow, so make sure you subscribe and like this video, and appreciate you listening.